Welcome back to my channel on language and linguistics learning. In this video, I offer you some tips or strategies how to answer structured questions in TOEFL. However, before coming to talk about strategies or tricks, how to answer TOEFL questions for structure easily, I would like to show you what you need to know about English structure. First of all, when we are talking about structure, we are talking about sentence. Therefore, the question arises is, what is a sentence? It is very simple. So, sentence is a group of words that consists of at least subject and predicate. Now, the subject in English is composed of noun, pronoun, noun phrase, and noun clause. Meanwhile, a predicate in English must contain a verb. Once again, a predicate in English must contain a verb. Now the question is, can we use all of the verbs as the predicate in a sentence? No, because in English, when we are talking about verb, okay, there are two kinds or two general classifications of verbs: main verb and auxiliary verb. And you see that main verb can be either verb 1, verb 2, verb 3, or verb ing. And among these four types of verbs or four kinds of verbs in English, only two of them can function as predicate: verb 1 and verb 2. In other words, verb 3 and verb ing are not predicates. Once again, only verb 1 and verb 2 are predicates, while verb 3 and verb ing are not predicates. Now, auxiliary verbs in English are composed of be, is, am, are, was, were, modals, and you know already modals, and then perfect, we have, has, had, and the last one is supportive auxiliary verb, including do, does, or did. Okay, these are predicates in English. The main point that the predicates in English must be verb 1, verb 2, and auxiliary verb. Other than these, they are not predicates. Verb 3 is not predicate. Verb ing is not predicate. Well, now, in English, the sentence can be a simple sentence. It means that it is composed of only one subject and one predicate. However, some other sentences can also be composed of more than one subject. So you may have two subjects, two predicates, three subjects, three predicates, four subjects, four predicates, and so on. But when you have more than one subject, there's a condition in order to make your sentence grammatically accepted. What is it? You need a conjunction. So I can say that two subjects, two predicates, plus one conjunction. When you have three subjects, three predicates, you need two conjunctions. Okay? Now, after knowing this very simple explanation, after understanding this very simple explanation, now let's come to answer the questions or the structured questions in TOEFL. Okay? Now, let's see, there are 5 questions. Let's answer these questions one by one. Okay, question number 1. This is the strategy. First of all, you have to analyze whether the sentence already has a subject and a predicate. Now, let's see. First one, we have the North Pole. And you see that there is the indicator, one of the indicators of a noun phrase. So the North Pole is the subject. And Now let's find out whether there is a predicate in this sentence. No predicate. We cannot find a predicate in this sentence. When there is no predicate, it means that the answer must contain a predicate. And a predicate must be verb 1, verb 2, or auxiliary verb. And you see here that B is having contains a predicate, C contains a predicate, D contains a predicate. So all of the options contain a predicate. However, you see that we don't need subject anymore because in the question there is already a subject, the North Pole. Therefore, option A is incorrect, and then option C is incorrect. So there are only two options left, B and D. Now you see here that the verb is have, and have is never used in continuous tense. Therefore, the answer goes to D. Now, let's come to the second question. We analyze whether there is a subject or a predicate in the sentence. Now, let's see that the city is the subject, and then we also have here a predicate, that is surrounded. So what does it mean? It means that the answer or the option that should complete the sentence number 2 should be neither subject nor predicate. Okay, so we have to choose among these 4 options which of them doesn't contain the predicate. And you see here that we have here are in option B, so it is incorrect because we don't need predicate. And then is in option C, so we eliminate these 2 options. Now 2 options are left, A and D. Now you see here that when we choose A, when we choose A to complete this sentence, now we are going to have here 2 noun phrases, its sites and the city, and there is no any marker to separate them. And this is not acceptable in the English structure, because when you have 2 nouns adjacently, this structure is certainly incorrect. Therefore, there should be a marker, to separate these 2 noun phrases. The marker can be preposition, the marker can be punctuation. Now, option D contains preposition by. Therefore, the 2 noun phrases are separated by the preposition by. So, the correct answer goes to D. Now, let's go on to question number 3. We have here only a predicate. We don't have here any subject. If you tell me that greyhound is the subject, it is not acceptable. Why? Because the subject and the predicate cannot be separated by comma. So we cannot say I, go to school. No. Subject and predicate must not be separated by any comma. So the conclusion is there is no subject in this sentence. Therefore, the answer must contain the subject. Now let's see the options. So the answer must be the subject because there is no subject in the sentence. Now, let's see which of these has the subject. The has no subject because the must be followed by the other noun. And then fastest. The fastest also needs noun, so this is not the subject. The fastest dog, this is possible to be the noun, but you see that when we combine this with greyhound, the sentence or the phrase is meaningless. Therefore, the answer goes to D. And this is, the case of appositive. Okay, this is the case of appositive. Okay, now let's go to question number 4. In question number 4, we already have here the subject and also the predicate. So we have here actually a complete structure, one subject and one predicate. However, okay, this sentence also needs to be completed. Okay, in order to complete this sentence, you should choose the option which is neither the subject nor the predicate. Now let's see. A gets as verb 1, so it is the predicate, so it is eliminated. And then B, C, and D are still possible. Okay, B, C, and D are still possible. Now let's see here the word or it is used in a parallel structure. It means that the structure before and after or must be similar. We see here that before or, the verb here is added by ing, verb plus ing. Therefore, the answer must also verb plus ing. Therefore, the answer goes to B. Now, let's come to question number 5. You see that we have here the subject, the greenhouse effect, and then we also have here the predicate, occurs. So what does it mean? It means that actually we don't need any subject or any predicate because the structure has already been complete. However, when we see the options, all of the options here contain a predicate. You see here that A contains trap, B trap, C traps, D traps. It means that all of the options contain a predicate. Now, we have 2 predicates. Is it possible to have 2 predicates? Yes, as long as we add a conjunction in that structure. Therefore, our answer, okay, must contain a conjunction. We should choose either the options which contains a conjunction, and we have here A and C. Okay, when in options A and C. And you know that conjunction must be followed by subject. Therefore, the best answer goes to C. Now, you can see that we don't need no more than 10 seconds in order to answer every questions in English structure, okay? In English structure in TOEFL. Okay, as long as you know exactly that the sentence must have one subject, one predicate. If the sentence has more than one subject, more than one predicate, we need a conjunction. Now, let's go on to the other questions, and you see that the answer should contain a conjunction. Okay, and the answer goes to C. Now, number 6. You see here that we have the subject, and then we have here the predicate. Okay, and you see that all of the options A, B, C, D also contain a predicate. What does it mean? It means that we need a conjunction, and this is very easy because there is only one option with conjunction. What is it? C, which. Okay, so the answer goes to C, which takes. Now, number 7, you see that we have here the subject. Okay, and we have here the predicate represent. However, this sentence is still incomplete because there is a space, there is a blank space here. Okay, in order to answer this question, we don't need any more subject, we don't need any more predicate. And you see that options B, C, D, they contain predicate. Use, okay, in option B, we have use verb 1, that is a predicate. Option C also contain use, okay, and option D, okay, it contains uses as the predicate. There's only one option without a predicate, so the best answer goes to A. Now, let's see a question number 8. You know that we have already here predicate. Okay, we have here only predicate. How many predicates do we have? We have here 2 predicates, are and are. You see that it is very easy to identify the predicate if the predicate is composed of be. Now, when we have 2 predicates, so what do we need? We need conjunction. And fortunately, there is only one answer with conjunction, that is while. So it's very easy, only 5 seconds to answer this question. So we choose A as the best answer. Now, question number 9. Question number 9, you see here that we have a predicate are, okay, and then we have here predicate for both. So we have 2 predicates. What does it mean? We need conjunction. And all of the answers, all of the options here, the possible answers also contain conjunction. Now, you see here that some of the conjunctions here are followed by the subject, okay, but you know that which here doesn't need, okay, actually which doesn't need subject anymore, because which can also be composed of conjunction plus subject. In other words, the subject has been integrated in the word which, or in the conjunction which. So the best answer goes to B, which. Now, number 10, you see here we have a predicate suggest. We have are as the second predicate. So we have already 2 predicates, and we have here one conjunction that. So we have 2 predicates and 1 conjunction, and this is already correct. However, all of the answers, okay, all of the options here also contain a predicate. Therefore, what we need is to choose which of them with a conjunction. Because we now have 3 predicates. Okay, 2 predicates here, suggest and are, and we have here can and is in the options. So we have 3 predicates. It means that we need 2 conjunctions. We already have 1 conjunction in the sentence. Okay, so in the option we need 1 more conjunction. So the answer goes to C. Now, number 11. Number 11, there is no predicate in this sentence. Okay, so if there's no predicate, we need a predicate. There are 3 options with a predicate, A, C, and D. However, we don't need option D, that is which. Why is it? Because we have no predicate in the sentence. So why should we have a conjunction? Because conjunction is needed when there are 2 predicates. So 2 options are possible, A and C. And you know here, okay, you know here that when we choose here C, okay, when we choose C, it means that we have two noun phrases without any marker separating them. So we have here a Henry Ford Museum, an exhibit without any marker to separate them. Therefore, the best answer goes to A. Very easy. Okay, less than 15 seconds. That's why I told you you need only 10 seconds to answer every question in a TOEFL structure. Now, number 12. Number 12, you see that we have here one predicate, that is, be is. Okay? When we have one predicate, actually this sentence has already been correct because rubber the subject and is the predicate. Now, when we choose A, B, C, or D, the one we choose must not contain a predicate anymore. If it contains a predicate, it must be accompanied by a conjunction. Now, you see here there are two possible answers which are not considered either predicate or, either verb 1 or verb 2. We have here be producing, verb ing, as the verb which is not a predicate, and also verb 3, which is also not a predicate, B and D. Now, this is also the trick. Okay, this is also the trick, the strategy that you can use in order to answer the question in structure. You see that passive and active meanings are also important in structure. Okay, you see that the blank space is followed by a preposition, and there is a tendency if the verb is followed by a preposition, this verb tends to be passive or tends to contain passive meaning. Therefore, passive is indicated by the use of verb 3, so the best answer goes to T. Okay, we still have 3 more questions. Now, question number 13, you see that we have here predicate, we have here subject. It means that we don't need predicate anymore. And you see that the one without a predicate is option A, issued, that is a verb 3. Very easy. Number 14, we already have here has as the predicate and is as the second predicate. It means that we have 2 predicates. If we have 2 predicates, we need one conjunction. You see here that only 2 options with the conjunction, that in options A and B, and you know that option A contains the other predicate, verb 1. So we don't need predicate anymore. Therefore, the best answer goes to B. Now, let's come to number 15, the last question. Okay, let's see here that question number 15 already has one subject and one predicate. What does it mean? It means that we don't need predicate anymore, because if we add one more predicate, we must also add a conjunction. Now, there's no conjunction in the options, so A and B are incorrect because both contain a conjunction. Are in A and is in B. Only 2 options are possible, C and D. Now you see that option D contains an extreme amount of poison. It means that it is a noun phrase. It is a subject. In fact, we don't need a subject anymore because we already have coral snakes as the subject. So, the best answer goes to C. That's all. The explanation about the strategy to answer structured questions in TOEFL very easily. I believe that if you want to practice a lot, you only need 10 to 15 seconds to answer each question in structure. Well, see you in the next video.